situations where being bad is highly advantageous.
When you put forth effort, you get reward. You should be constantly revising your conclusions, I think.
You have to very consciously differentiate yourself from where you think your professional peer group is going.
60 seconds. Okay. So what is the one thing people need to know about how cultural differences cause planes to crash?
People need to understand that the most important aspect in the safety of a plane is not the plane itself. It's not the hardware. It's the pilots. And in particular, it's how the pilots communicate. And if they can communicate openly and honestly and clearly, they can minimize their chances of crashing. And their ability to communicate in that way is a function of their culture. The cultures where a subordinate has difficulty speaking up to their boss have more plane crashes because they can't share information in the cockpit the way they should. And cultures where there is, where bosses and subordinates are on the same level have fewer plane crashes because it's easy for them to share information in that way.
One of the most important things that was on that recorder was the sound of a warning horn going off in the cockpit as the aircraft departed from Stansted.
But even more significant than the sound of the alarm is what is not on the tape.
They seem to be ignoring the alarms completely.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Annyeong.
Shemai.
Welcome to the UK.
Welcome to London.
Welcome to England.
Forward to Coherent.
Basic and real.
Scotland's better.
No, Ireland's the best.
Excellence in flight. Korean Air.
Overrated or underrated, the idea of early childhood intervention to set societal ills right?
Overrated, because it's to my mind, it's just another form. So it became politically impermissible to say that certain people in society would never make it because they were genetically inferior. So I feel like that group, it's like, all right, we can't say that anymore. We'll just move the goalpost up 2 years. And we'll say, well, if you don't get, or 3 years, if you don't get the right kind of stimulation by the time you're 3, basically it's curtains. So it's like, why is that argument, which we decided we didn't like it when they set the goalpost at 0, and somehow it's like super important and legitimate and, you know, chin stroking worthy when they move the goalpost to 3. Truth is, like, people, it's not over at 3 any more than it was over at 0. Like, there are certain things that it would be nice to get done by the age of 3, but if they're not, the idea that it's curtains, it's preposterous. It's the same kind of fatalism that I thought we had defeated, you know.
Already from the beginning, there was a fundamental difference. The Chinese, since the beginning, had to work a lot harder than anybody else, and that hard work eventually became part of their culture. The fact that a rice farm is a lot smaller than a wheat farm really forced the Chinese to make the best use out of the limited space. Instead of taking the easy way out, which was to get more land, which often they could not do, they had to find intricate ways to fit as much rice as possible in the existing land that they had. Like, that's a very hard thing to do. This really helped the Chinese develop a sense of problem-solving skills that wasn't really required anywhere else. Like, it's really easy when all you have to do is just to buy more land. Like, it's a lot harder when you have to really think and just, how can I make the most out of this land that I have? Like, I can't buy anything else. I'm stuck making the most of this. Like, that's a totally different experience. Association between hard work and success at such an early time eventually became part of Chinese culture. It didn't only apply to farming anymore. Like, it started to apply to more general things like, I don't know, school. Like, if you look at the amount of hours that a Chinese spends studying compared to an American, the difference is striking. Like, on the surface, they might be identical. Like, they might go to the same school, have the same curriculum, and even have the same friends. But at home, those cultural differences, they really start to show. The Chinese are often doing a lot more work than others simply because they were raised in a culture where the more you work, the more you succeed. The Americans, unfortunately, they learned a different lesson. They learned that success was not really about what you can do, but more about what the environment can do for you. They never really learned that hard work is going to equal success. In school and really just in everything. If you want to become good at anything, you have to put in the hours. If you look at all the successful people in our history, all of them got there through hard work. Like, there's not one person that really just didn't do anything and just became successful. Like, success takes work. Try to find one person in your life that's really successful but really hasn't done any work to get there. Like, there's none. Like, you have to work hard to become successful, and once you learn that, you're